talk about your introduction to music. Like, what was your earliest like music experience? Like, what was some of your earliest music memories for
Uh, I remember, man. So when I was young, I used to sell candy out my book bag.
you? Yeah.
So my ultimate goal from selling candy, I wanted to buy studio equipment. I heard people talking about, Mixcraft and Magic Music Maker and all these type things. But, before all that came about, all I had was we used to record on tapes, like actually rap into the radio and record it on the tape. And like whenever our favorite song came on the radio, we just rap over it. But, that wouldn't go work in the new age. So eventually I started selling candy out my backpack, man, and I bought, I think it was Mixcraft 5. And with Mixcraft 5, man, I ended up getting a little USB mic. I set up everything in my closet, and then I started making music from there. It was around MySpace times. So around MySpace times, I started uploading a few songs and everything. It started getting some attention. So when I go back to school, everybody knew that I rap. But a lot of people was talking about the quality and this and that. A lot of stuff. People still talk about stuff like that to this day. But so eventually, my cousin saw what I was doing, and he took me to John Amos's studio. So I had this song that he really liked, but he was like, the quality wasn't there and the beat wasn't mine, because I find it on, like, I don't know if a lot of people familiar with it, but it's called SoundClick. This was before YouTube beats and all that. It was SoundClick. But I downloaded beats from there because I didn't have the money to afford them. So my cousin took me to John Amos's studio, and John Amos remade the beat. He did the session for me, and then he also gave me a few pointers, being that he was a part of the early making history with music, man. He was a part of soulism. He produced almost any song you heard from artists back in the day and making. John Amos produced it, mixed it, and all that. So. But yeah, he just gave me a few pointers, man, and he was telling me how the way my delivery was, it wasn't capturing. So that made me go back and revisit the way I flowed, the way I delivered my music and everything. So that was John Amos, man. He gave me those pointers, and I still use those to this day.
Yeah. Who else was like a big inspiration for you to not only like get into music, but just hustling in general? Like, where did you get that from?
Oh, my dad, man. Shout out to Sonny Spoon, man. But my dad was a big inspiration. Him and CMD. Seeing them as a child, man. CMD. He had all the spray painted vehicles and everything, and on top of that, even though they was rapping, they had other hustles going on as well. My dad was doing this thing, and then CMD was doing this thing. They just brought that together, and seeing them work together and hustle the way they did took the music from here all across the world. So that was a big inspiration. And being that I was so close to it, I got to witness it.
Right. So talk about it growing up. Like, how was it, for you, like, being young and coming up and the Dirty Bird and everything for you? Like, what did you feel any pressure? Like, when you started making music, like, do you feel like you have to live up to that expectation?
No, but I think other people think I have to. That's the part. But I've been getting pretty much the acknowledgement that I need for myself. Because being that my dad is an artist, they look at what he did and like, okay, well, what is Mel gonna do? But the ultimate goal for me is just to do what it is I want to do. But seeing Dirty Bird and stuff like that, being in there, it was a song for, the Atlanta Falcons, and he did stuff like that. That just let me know, that was just milestones, that was set for me. These are things that I could do as well. So now I'm being placed in some of those avenues as well with other artists and things of that nature where I can build up my catalog. I don't really feel that it's pressure. A lot of people still, like I said, to this day, think we competing or something, but I don't look at it that way.
Yeah.
It's just inspiration to me, and that's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
One of the biggest stereotypes they place on our city, man, is that it's this violent, dangerous place. But one of the ones that they don't acknowledge is that the fact that there's so much musical history in Macon, man. Like Lil Richard started off here, you know, Percy Welch, the Allman Brothers, James Brown got his start here. Even when it comes to the hip hop scene, man, we had, you know, artists like John Amos and Sonny Spoon and Soulism that was doing stuff on an independent level and on a mainstream level. So that's the light I like to shine on the city, man.
So, you know, talk a little bit about, you know, who was Blacc Male, you know, before the music?
Well, Blacc Male, I got my start around, I want to say around 2016, and I've been on the scene pretty much since then. And I do a lot of cultural events, you know, a lot of times, like we just did the Garvey Day and Juneteenth. And Blacc Male is pretty much, man, a person of the community, a person that has a voice, you know, given the platform that we have. So that's Blacc Male for the people who don't know.
You know, talk a little bit about, you know, growing up, like, did you come from a one-parent home, two-parent home? Like, talk about a little bit about your upbringing.
Now the upbringing, it was pretty much, I had the best of both worlds. So it was like, with my mom, I was in I stayed with my mom most of the time. But as I got older, you know, I wanted to see what it was like to live with my dad. So, you know, I moved with my dad and his wife for a while. So things was a lot different for me. Because when I was staying with my mom, you know, I was pretty much, you know, in the streets and things of that nature. But when I got with my dad, it was a lot more discipline, you know. So I had the best of both worlds, pretty much like a Fresh Prince type situation. Moved out to the hills and to the, my dad stayed out in the woods, man. So, you know, I got to experience the suburbs and I got to experience the hood as a child.
What about any siblings?
Nah, I have total, I think I have 9 siblings, 9. So on my mom's side, I have 2. On my dad is 7. So, you know, plenty of sisters and brothers. On my dad's side, I'm the oldest, and on my mom's side, I'm the middle child. So that's actually where I got the idea from. My recent release project, Problem Child. Yeah, they always say the middle child is the problem child, and I grew up being that pretty much, you know, on my mom's side. So that's where I got the idea from it from.
Talk a little bit about, you know what I'm saying, like being like the middle child, like how, what was like, what was that like for you coming up, like?
Well, you know, being that my sister was the oldest on my mother's side, she it's like with me, the youngest child is always, you know, treated this way. So then the first child is always the first. So it's like the middle child is always the outcast because it's like you just there. But so being that I did a lot of stuff to get attention, you know, a lot of stuff got me in trouble a lot. You know, I got in school, man, I was always the class clown. I was the one playing, always starting fights and stuff like that because it was really, I just wanted attention. But yeah, man, that's really where I got the concept for my project from, man. It really, it just followed me all my life pretty much.
Defiant, but ain't relying on politicians. You expect me to vote for them to make my decisions? The opposition could really care less about our position. Forced to praise isms, but always